recorded.
All right, Module 5 assignment, current issues in education presentation. Does a higher level of per pupil spending lead to higher student achievement? Let's do a general background on per pupil spending and benchmark spending. Schools in the United States spend an average of $19,380 per pupil, which is the second highest amount per pupil after adjusting to local currency values, among the other 37 developed nations in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. We're number 2 in spending. We are not number 2 in results. All right. In the United States, education spending falls short of benchmarks set by international organizations such as the UNESCO, of which the United States is a member. We put forth 12.7% of public funding towards education. The international standard is 15%. Let's do a background on perspectives. And this is basically the one for me that basically just, it's the best viewpoint across. If one takes any list of what states spend on schools and compares it to results of the federal government's academic testing program, the National Assessment of Education Progress, there is absolutely no correlation between spending and achievement. Taking that one step further, if we look at this chart here on the right, if we saw that increased spending resulted in better quality, you'd see a sharp down into the right trend. Instead, the results show a statistically insignificant link between per pupil spending and reading performance. A great way to remember that whenever you see something like this, if you see what looks like a DNA molecule, which is this, no significant statistical difference. There we go. Tongue twister and bad lips. Let's see here. Second part. I also compare the per pupil spending with learning rate metric from Stanford University, and basically the same thing. There is zero correlation. Every viewpoint has an opposing viewpoint. So the results show that school funding for underperforming schools was effective in improving students' test outcomes in math, English, social, and science, but there was no significant effect found in reading. Specifically, a 20% increase in school funding decreased the share of below average students in math, English, social, and science. So the way you can view this viewpoint is, not every student is going to benefit from every dollar put into the school system, but if we put some money in the school system, it will help lift some students out in underperforming schools. So there is hope. It's just how the dollars are being spent. That will continue on with this next point. When a district's per pupil spending increased by 10%, those exposed to the increases across all 12 school-age years, those 5 years or older at the time of the increase, completed more years of school and as adults earned more and were less likely to be poor. All right. We have a higher graduation rate, which leads to a higher adult wage, which leads to a lower likelihood of poverty. Low-income students benefited the most from increased spending. But again, there's a limit to how much money will get performance. Personal perspective. I'm a Dave Ramsey person. He's a financial guy, very big into budgeting. Unfortunately, education is not like a financial budget. More income will not solve educational issues. One more dollar does not equal one more point on an exam. It's not that easy. That's not how it's done. I think personally, I decided to put this in. To solve education, curriculum needs to be developed to interest children. Fractions told through the lens of cooking, probabilities and percentages told through the lens of sports. I love to cook. I can do probabilities, fractions, things like that through cooking. And of course, while I'm watching a football game, it's all about fractions, percentages, probabilities, items like that, whether to go for it on fourth down and things like that. I think if curriculum was specifically developed like that for children through the years, I think things would work better. And then we got our references here, 1 and 1. And thank you so much. Everyone have a good night.